Welcome to Her and Boss, the podcast designed to help you find your inner entrepreneur. Her and Boss is brought to you by recent graduates, Anissa, Lucy, Megan, Ben, Sarah, and me, Nikki, as we enter our careers and speak to the inspiring women who can help us along the way. Hey everyone, this is your host Nikki, and today I'm joined by Maddie Astle, a PR account executive and the brains behind Mind the Gap Graduates, a blog which was created to help recent graduates and young adults settle into life after education. Maddie has had her fair share of side hustles, and she's here today to help us figure out how we can use our own side hustles to boost our CV and help us land a dream job. This minisode is sponsored by Rise, created by Barclays. Rise is a global community of the world's top innovators who are on a mission to support female founders create the tech solutions that will shape our future for the better. Enjoy! Hey Maddie.
Hi Nikki, you all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you doing?
Good, yeah, I'm all right, thank you.
So really excited about this minisode today about side hustles and how they can add something to your CV or your job application. I was reading recently that at least 40% of the UK workforce has a side hustle, which is huge, and that stat is from 2018, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's changed. But I thought it would be good to just start off by, I guess, defining what a side hustle is and what some examples of a side hustle are, because I know some people have this misconception that your side hustle has to be, making you money, or it has to be something that eventually is going to become your main hustle. Like your side hustle is kind of before you even get a startup. But to you, like, what are some examples of side hustles you've had, and what are some other examples?
Yeah, so I definitely agree that many people probably get confused with what a side hustle is, and a lot of people probably don't realise they've had one. Whether they've just been doing some embroidery and selling it, that is technically a side hustle, and that is something that you can shout about when applying to jobs. So for me, I started a side hustle in my third year of university, which was painting plant pots with cute little designs and just affordable gift ideas for students. So that did start off with me just wanting to make a bit of extra money on the side. I didn't realise how much it would benefit me in terms of my CV and my career path more generally anyway. So that really helped with that. And I would say that my blog at the minute is another side hustle. I do make a bit of money from it, but more importantly, it's just my creative outlet. And it has taught me a lot of stuff that I never knew about and I never thought I would learn. So for me, having a side hustle is hugely important, whether you want to make money or if you want to know more about yourself, if you're just bored in your spare time, anything like that. So yeah, for me, the first one was more of an arts and crafts kind of side hustle, and now the second one has been more about copywriting, brand awareness, and building an online platform to help people. But as I say, it could be anything. You could be crocheting and selling that. That's a side hustle. You
Mhm.
could be freelancing a little bit. You could be writing blog posts for people and selling that. That's a side hustle. You can be doing a CD writing service, side hustle. Anything that's on the side of what you kind of currently do, and whether it makes you loads of money, whether it makes you no money, anything like that. If it's teaching you skills and it's doing something extra, it's kind of like extracurricular activities at school, really. If you're doing that, then it's a side hustle.
Yeah, I love that comparison to extracurricular activities at school, because you're right, so many people will have done something like that and continue to have other activities they do alongside their kind of full-time job, whether that is a job or, studying at uni, whatever it is. And to kind of recognize that that is giving you additional experience and you're kind of taking your own initiative with it, I think is really valuable. So then the main question I have really is, what do side hustles add to your CV, and how do employers kind of, what value do they add when you're applying for a job, basically?
So, kind of broad answer to that really is that side hustles can add whatever you want to your CV.
Mhm.
The really good thing about it is that it's yours and you can take full ownership of it, and you can take full ownership of what it is, what direction it wants to go into, and where it takes you personally, whether you make money from it or not, or whether you want to add another element to it just because you fancy learning about it. So when I started my blog, I was just thinking, great, I just need a WordPress site and I need to know how to write. And I did, and that was the foundation of it. But now I know how to build a website. I know how to rank on the first page of Google with SEO. I know how to grow on Instagram. I know how to have all of these different things working at once and all these kind of cogs turning. But before and right at the very start, I didn't realize that's where I'd want to end up with it. So you take it in whatever direction you want. And now I've got SEO on my CV that I never would have had I not done this. And now I've got social media management on my CV that I wouldn't have had through my job anyway. So it can boost your career and your CV to no end, really, because if you want to add another element to it, you can, and you can learn that. And that's a brilliant skill to have. And I think at the minute, employers are really valuing what you do in your spare time, because if you can't get a job at the minute, are you just going to sit around doing nothing and kind of feeling bad for yourself, which is completely fine. And I would be doing the same. And it's a weird times, but to really impress an employer, you need to show that in that time you were doing something that contributed to your development and your future. And whether that's doing 1 or 2 courses every couple of months at the minute, that's fine. But if you want to start a full-on side hustle, if you want to start a blog and see where it takes you, if you want to start making physical things that you sell to people, or whatever it is you want to do, it's really, really good and gives you something else to talk about in your interview as well. Because if they do ask about a gap on your CV, which everyone will probably have at this moment in time, which is fine. If you can respond to that with an answer of, well, I took the initiative of having all this free time and I started XYZ and it taught me XYZ, which corresponds to your job listing, that's a lot better than being able to just sit there and say, oh, yeah, no, I just couldn't get a job. So there's so many benefits to it, and it's not just the career. So it is good for your mental health, because if you're just sat around doing nothing at the minute and feeling a little bit sorry for yourself, then having something that has a purpose and that you can put all your spare time and thought into, that's really great for your mental health. But at the same time, it's really good for your CV and really good to learn new things and keep on learning, because we've learned all this time in education and then we go into a job and we are usually learning more and more. So if you're kind of stagnant in your career, then a side hustle or even just doing online courses can really help to not just be sat there and not learning and not developing, which is really important in your 20s.
Yeah, definitely. I think that point as well around it showing that you can take initiative and kind of do more than what's asked of you is really important, because when you kind of go from school to uni, you're kind of learning because that's what you're supposed to do. And I think taking that initiative to do something outside shows that you're not just going to wait and be told what to do next. You're not just there to do the job that you're told to do. You're gonna constantly be thinking about other ways to make it impact. And I think that's huge. Do you think, like, in your mind, having side hustles has kind of helped you develop your confidence in any way?
Yes, definitely, because I'm doing things like this that I would never have done before.
Mhm.
So if someone said to me, "Do you want to be on a podcast?" I'd be like, absolutely
Yeah.
not. I don't like talking. I don't like putting myself out there, and I don't have anything to say. So this time last year, I wouldn't have had anything to say to you because I hadn't have properly started my blog, and I would have started my pot business. I maybe shouldn't say pot business. My pot painting business. But since that point, I've learned so much about myself, and I've learned that I didn't used to like being on podcasts, and I didn't used to like filming myself on my Instagram, but now I do, and it's taught me so much confidence, and it's given me so much confidence to help other people as well. So yeah, I would say I'm majorly more confident within my side hustle, and it has translated to my career as well. So I am more confident in my writing, and I don't have that much imposter syndrome with what I'm doing. So yeah, definitely, it can really boost your skills and the way you feel about yourself and those skills and the way you portray them too.
Yeah, I love that. I completely agree. I feel like the podcast has done kind of a similar thing for myself and the rest of the team who work on it. It's fun to have something, to be doing something else that you're passionate about, but it also does kind of majorly boost your confidence because you're pushed like that little bit outside of your comfort zone. Um, and then final question is how, when you've been applying for jobs, the interviewer has asked about your side hustles and how you've kind of presented it to them.
Yeah, so when I've applied to any jobs and just kind of seen what's out there, I've put my side hustle in my work experience under my current job. I think there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. So I have kind of done a bit of trial and error with it. So I've put it in my work experience, but below my employment, because I never ever want to apply for a job and someone instantly think that I care more about my side hustle than my career. And I feel like putting it at the top, no matter how big your achievements have been and no matter how much more you value it, your employer is going to value that commitment to your full-time job more. So I'd say if you put it in your work experience section, great, but don't put it higher than your actual paid employment, because I think that might be a bit dodgy
Might
to
come
say.
across wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And my dad, who has a company, so he sees lots of CVs. So he looked at my CV and he thought, I wouldn't put that at the top if I were you, because it looks a little bit like you don't care about what your current employment is compared to that. So that was really good advice. Another place that I used to put things was in like a positions of responsibility. So
Okay.
I had that position of helping graduates, and with my parts, I had the position of fulfilling all these orders, and that sat alongside my committee membership at uni. So I thought that again tied quite nicely into extracurricular areas. So that's another way you can put it. And so when I've been to interviews or had interviews since starting things, it has been a major talking point, and I have tried to kind of mold it into experience that I've got from actual paid employment too, because as I say, you don't want to talk too much about one thing, but in questions where my work experience or career development would have fallen short, my blog's kind of picked that back up. So I would have been clueless without it, because I'd have had to say, I don't actually know. Like, I've not come across that before and I've not dealt with that. But with my blog, I've been able to say, actually, through starting my side hustle, I've learned this and that could help me in this many ways. So it's really important. And employers always say it's really good initiative to start that, and they really value that you've got these out of the box ideas, because especially when you're applying to roles in creative industries, it's demonstrating firsthand that you have that creativity. And when you're, for me, if you're applying to roles that are about websites or about social media, your portfolio is literally on display for them to go and have a look at and see how you're doing it and see how you portray yourself. And yes, that can make it a bit scarier, because everything I put online, I'm now thinking, is a future employer going to see this? What are they going to make of that? So it's always something to have in the back of your mind, that if it is a side hustle and you never want it to be a full hustle, keep it as a side hustle and make sure that you always have your career in mind rather than your side hustle. So whether you want to make money from it or not, that's great, but just work out how it's going to affect your career and whether it's boosting your 9 to 5 or whether it's an escape from your 9 to 5 that one day you want to be your full-time job. But I think there's a lot of different things to consider, but employers do really value it, but it's just how you portray it. So if you don't want them to think negatively of it, then don't portray it as like the be all and end all of your CV and the only thing you care about. So that's all I'd say on that one, really.
Yeah, I think that's some really good tips. And I guess the like overarching theme of this is that your side hustle can be whatever you want it to be. And I guess that's the value, because it could be something that you're really passionate about. And so it becomes kind of something you do for enjoyment or as a bit of a mental health break, or it could be something to help build your skills so that you can get that dream job. But just, I guess, taking ownership of it is a great skill to show off to employers. But because you're taking ownership, you need to work out the best way to position it.
Definitely, yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for listening. We'd love to hear more about your side hustles and the skills they've helped you develop over on our Instagram or LinkedIn @Her Own Boss Podcast.